I had so many stories yesterday. Today I'm just going to try and focus on chapter 2, and we're going to go straight into the verse that we are picking and highlighting today. Chapter 2 verse 15 is where we are at. It was such a difficult job trying to decide on what one verse to speak on, but verse 15 is the one that we're picking today. I'm going to read it from the NIV and the Message version of the Bible. I love doing that for the sake of our conversation. Let's go. Then God's word says, then you must protect me from the foxes on the prowl, foxes who will like nothing better than to get into our flowering garden. The Message version says, catch for us the foxes, the little foxes that ruin the vineyards, our vineyards that are in bloom. Foxes. I like that the Message version says, catch for us the foxes, the little foxes that ruin vineyards. The little foxes. Underline that if you're reading with me, and you find that, please highlight little foxes. Little foxes. I like this verse because it is such a reminder to you and I today that it is little foxes that destroy beautiful, blooming vineyards. It is very small things that destroy great relationships. I can stop here and we'll have learned our lesson for today. Small things. The little foxes that we don't catch, the little foxes that we are not aware of, that if we don't catch them, expose them, and deal with them conclusively, then they get to the place of destroying a whole great relationship. What are those little foxes? I was watching this news the other day of this guy was it in the US or in Colombia? I can't remember. But the guy was he'd gotten this tiger and he was keeping it. I think it was in Colombia. I'm really sorry that I forget the country. But he got a tiger cub, years ago, raised the cub. The cub was like part of the family, etc, long story. But the other day, this tiger, now it's no longer a cub, it's been many years later, this tiger just woke up one morning and it just hit the guy, threw him to the ground, tore him apart. And I'm so sorry that that's the story that I've brought up this morning, because it didn't end well at all, and I was just looking at this story, and guys were commenting all sorts of things. But in my mind I was like, yeah, this was once a cub and it is now a full-grown tiger. And the reality is, a wild animal will one day remember that it's a wild animal, and it's gonna do what wild animals do, and that's exactly what tigers do. It just attacked the guy and killed the guy because it's a wild animal. Yeah. If you think about it, in the verse that we're reading today, the inference here is to little foxes, and the guy, this is the voice, it's actually the guy who's speaking and saying, catch for us the little foxes that ruin our vineyards. Yeah, let's be aware. In the Passion Translation it says, you must catch the troubling foxes, those silly little foxes that hinder our relationship, for they raid our budding vineyard of love to ruin what I've planted within you. Will you catch them and remove them for me? Will we do it together? Yeah, I really like this because it's asking us to pay attention to the small things that have the potential to ruin our good relationships. And I like it because, first, especially when you read it in the Passion Translation, it puts this verse in such a way that we understand that it is both an individual responsibility and it's the collective responsibility of the couple to do it. To sense those things that are small little foxes that can destroy relationships. In the sense of, you and I know, this is not new, that when you talk to people and ask them why they broke up or what happened, etc, and you really take time to track the story, you get to the point of realizing that this thing started as a very small, tiny thing. It was just given room, and then it was fed, and it was nourished. It was not addressed, and then it became the tiger that took the relationship down. What are those little foxes for us today? Like, are we able to have the humility to sit and talk about them? Like, here's what you're doing that I don't like. Here's what you did this other day that, and this is what I felt from it. Here's what, it is calling us to this place of, again, the word vulnerable conversations. Vulnerable conversations. Like, instead of just getting angry and keeping quiet and sweeping things under the carpet, it is this thing where we can be like helping each other, be like, look, you did this, I didn't like it, this is what I think, or this and this happened, I need to bring it up so that we address it for the sake of the strength of our relationship. Remember what we're saying here today, it's little foxes that destroy great relationships. What are those little foxes for you? Yeah. Are you going to have the courage to bring them up? Are you going to have not just the courage, but sometimes even the humility to listen? Because again, there's no fox we are going to catch if all the time there's a tough conversation, we are defensive, we are running around trying to prove things. No, just listen and be like, oh my God, I didn't know. Let me think about it and see what we can do so that this is not an issue anymore. Because at the end of the day, what your relationship is, it's a gift from God. Why wouldn't you protect it? Yeah. And I think there are two ways that we can guard our relationships. The first one is on our knees, like spiritually. We must pray and rely on God and His Word. Yeah. We must pray. We must rely on God and we must read His Word, both individually and together. That is a responsibility that you have of this relationship. And then the second thing is action. We must learn to talk, and we must learn to openly talk about the small things that are causing rifts in these great friendships and relationships that God has given us. This is something that I also need to learn, and I hope that you see the importance of it, of catching these little foxes so that our relationships and the vineyards can flower and bloom, and that they can really, really, really bud and be exactly what we want them to be. So, once again, catch the little foxes that have the potential to ruin the vineyard, the relationship that God has given you. God bless you. Let's talk tomorrow. Chapter 3. Bye.